William Emmanuel Bevan, known by his recording alias Burial, is an electronic recording artist from South London. Initially remaining anonymous, Burial became the first artist signed to Code 9's electronic label Hyperdub in 2005. He released his self-titled debut album, which drew inspiration from UK rave music and pirate radio culture, to Acclaim in 2006. It was named the Album of the Year by The Wire. Burial's second album, Untrue, was released to further critical acclaim in 2007. In 2008, Bevan's identity was revealed by The Independent and confirmed by Hyperdub. He has gone on to collaborate with Four Tet, Massive Attack, Thom Yorke and Zomby in addition to releasing a series of acclaimed long-form EPs, including Kindred, 2012, and Rival Dealer, 2013. He has remained reclusive, giving few interviews and avoiding public appearances. Biography. Early career. Self-titled debut and Untrue. Bevan grew up a fan of old-school jungle and garage, having been introduced to UK rave music by his older brothers. In an interview with The Wire, he explained, "I was brought up on old jungle tunes and garage tunes that had lots of vocals in, but me and my brothers loved intense, darker tunes too. I found something I could believe in. But sometimes I used to listen to the ones with vocals on my own and it was almost a secret thing. My brother might bring back these records that seemed really adult to me and I couldn't believe I had EM. It was like when you first saw Terminator or Alien when you're only little. I'd get a rush from it. I was hearing this other world." Bevan began sending Steve Goodman, a.k.a. Code 9, letters and CDRs of his homemade music around 2001, having been a fan of the music featured on Goodman's Hyperdub website. In 2005, the label released the South London Boroughs EP, which collected tracks recorded by Burial for several years prior. Burial's self-titled 2006 debut album was the first full-length release on Hyperdub. Despite early acclaim, Burial initially remained anonymous, and said in an early interview that, "Only 5 people know I make tunes." In February 2008, The Independent speculated that Burial was Bevan, an alumnus of South London's Eliot School. The school's alumni also include Kieran Hebden, aka Four Tet, with whom Bevan has collaborated. On the 22nd of July 2008, it was announced Burial was a nominee for the 2008 Mercury Music Prize for his second album, Untrue. There was much Mercury Prize-related coverage in tabloid newspapers in the UK, including speculation that Burial was either Richard D. James, Aphex Twin, or Norman Cook. On the 5th of August 2008, Bevan confirmed his identity and posted a picture of himself on his MySpace page. A blog entry stated, "I'm a low-key person and I just want to make some tunes," as well as announcing a forthcoming 4-track 12 inches, and thanking his fans for their support up to this point. On the 9th of September 2008, Elbow won the award in question. Post-Untrue work. Rather than releasing a third album, Burial has spent the years since Untrue releasing increasingly lengthy and more experimental individual tracks. This began with Moth, Wolf Cub, a collaboration with Four Tet, and Burial's own track Foster Care and EP Street Halo. He then developed this practice, experimenting with multi-part suites rather than conventional songs on a Massive Attack collaboration and subsequent solo EPs Kindred, 2012, Truant, Rough Sleeper, 2012, and Rival Dealer, 2013. Each of these EPs was met with critical acclaim, with Kindred being singled out in particular as a landmark release. On the 10th of February 2010, Massive Attack's Daddy G said they were planning a remix album with Burial. Regarding the latest release Heligoland, On the 10th of October 2011, Massive Attack announced the release of a 12-inch single in collaboration with Burial with the two tracks Four Walls and Paradise Circus. Massive Attack posted the track Four Walls on their website. The record, with sleeve design by Massive Attack's Robert Del Naja, was limited to 1,000 copies. In 2015, Burial released the Temple Sleeper single on Key Sound Recordings. An EP, Young Death, Night Market, was released in November 2016. Style and composition. Bevan claims to compose nearly all his music in SoundForge, a digital audio editor, and to eschew the use of trackers and sequences. As he describes the process in an interview, "Once I change something, I can never unchange it. I can only see the waves. So I know when I'm happy with my drums because they look like a nice fishbone. When they look just skeletal as fuck in front of me. And so I know they'll sound good." Quote. He also said that he didn't use a sequencer, because if his drums were timed too perfectly, they would lose something, and sound rubbish. Discussing his rhythmic affinities in an interview with writer Mark Fisher, Burial stated that, "Something happens when I hear the subs, the rolling drums and vocals together. To me it's like a pure UK style of music. And I wanted to make tunes based on what UK underground hardcore tunes mean to me. And I want a dose of real life in there too. Something people can relate to." Of his production techniques, journalist Derek Wormsley wrote in The Wire, "Burial decided at the outset to avoid at all costs the rigid, mechanistic path that eventually brought drum and bass to a standstill. To this end, his percussion patterns are intuitively arranged on the screen rather than rigidly quantized, creating minute hesitations and slippages in the rhythm. His snares and hi-hats are covered in fuzz and phaser, like cobwebs on forgotten instruments. And the mix is rough and ready rather than endlessly polished. Perhaps most importantly, his bass lines sound like nothing else on earth. Distorted and heavy, yet also warm and earthy. They resemble the balmy gust of air that precedes an underground train." Discography. Studio albums. Burial, 2006. Untrue, 2007. Extended plays. South London Boroughs, 2005. Distant Lights, 2006. Ghost Hardware, 2007. Street Halo, 2011. Kindred, 2012. Truant, Rough Sleeper, 2012. Rival Dealer, 2013. Young Death, Night Market, 2016. Further reading. 12. John, the 15th of May 2016. Burial turned 10. The Roots of a Dubstep Masterpiece. Fact Magazine. Burial, official page at Hyperdub Records. Burial discography at Discogs. Burial interview from Blackdown Soundboy blog. 2006.